The Great Barrier Reef is facing its worst summer on record as coral die-off sweeps the planet. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the Great Barrier Reef just had its worst summer on record. For the first time in 5 years, China's Xi Jinping is heading to Europe for a goodwill tour, but it will be tough. 5 years later, on his first return to the continent since then, the Chinese leader will land in a very different climate. While the pomp and ceremony may remain as Xi begins his 6-day European tour in France on Sunday, views on China across the continent have shifted dramatically. Police tactics at campus protests reveal disparities in approaches to public order and lessons learned post-George Floyd footage captured from the physical, and in some cases violent, confrontations between police and protesters reveals a gamut of tactics used to disperse demonstrators from occupied school buildings and take down on-campus encampments. Israel shuts Kerem Shalom crossing after Hamas fires rockets. At least 10 people were injured, some seriously, Israeli media report. The armed wing of Hamas said it had targeted troops with short-range rockets. Mediators in the Egyptian capital, Cairo, have held 2 days of talks aimed at securing a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of hostages held by Hamas. In a statement, Hamas said the latest round had ended on Sunday and that its delegation would now travel to Qatar to consult with the group's leadership. My children cling to me as dogs raid graves near our shelter in a tent yards from a cemetery. Rehab Abu Dhaka tries to shield her 7 children from Rafah's horrors. Al Jazeera office raided as Israel takes channel off air. The network denies being a threat to security and says Israel wants to cover up its crimes. Have the wheels come off for Tesla? Israel's war on Gaza. Netanyahu accused of sabotaging truce talks. The Israeli cabinet has voted unanimously to close Al Jazeera's operations in the country. The communications minister says the orders against the network will go into effect immediately. Al Jazeera Media Network calls the move a criminal act that violates human rights. India calls Canada arrests over Sikh activist murder political compulsion. Reacting to Indian national's arrest, Trudeau acknowledges fear in Canada's Sikh community but underscores rule of law. When prison and mental illness amount to a death sentence, the downward spiral of one inmate, Marcus Johnson, exemplifies the larger failures of American prisons to care for the mentally ill. Israeli cabinet votes to shut down Al Jazeera's operations in the country.